be totally and brutally honest here. Sean Corbin makes Valerie Brudov look like Ivan Drago. It's as simple as that. He's beat what's in front of him tonight. He faces me. He's going to visit mental demons again. And let's get something straight. Come to me, mate. You come to me. Next time, ain't no judge is going to be needed. I'm going to do worse than Kovalev. I am going to do worse than Kovalev.
On Saturday night, mate, you better hold it together. I'm going to smash it near you to pieces, mate. I'm going to hit him. When he gets in the ring and we get 10-ounce gloves on, I'm going to smash his head to bits. I'm going to do it November the 30th against all odds. No matter what people say, the journalists write what you want. All as I'll say is tune back in and then look at me on December the 1st when I am world champion. It's as simple as that.
I'm willing to die in that ring. It's as simple as that. I am willing to die. I'm willing to die, Saturday. Is he?
Good old Chuck Crew. Right, let's move on then, boys, shall we? Episode 373. Bellew of the Weeks. Aussie's here, Andy's here. Hey to Dave Lowback. Good to have him on. And rapping Rob Kelly, as always. First nomination, just leave him alone. Tony Bellew coming out of retirement to take part in the Join For Me hashtag Team Right Boxing Edition World Championship. Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. was the main man, Tony Bellew. Come and work out with me, says this guy Mark Wright, whoever the hell that is. Maybe it's the former Liverpool defender, who knows. These legends this week on my Instagram buzzing for this week's training. If you know boxing and love
Sky
boxing.
off only way is Essex, isn't it? He's,
is that right?
Right, okay. He's with that tasty one, isn't he, off Cardace Street? What's her name? Keegan. Kevin Keegan's young one. It's not Kevin Keegan's young one.
Michelle Keegan.
Yeah, that's his missus, isn't it? He's hanging out with all the celebrities. It was funny as well, actually, on that training session. They had a bit of a Q&A, Mark Wright and Tony Bellew. And Tony Bellew came through training despite obviously having an injury in his back from towing the company line, because they asked him who was the best heavyweight in the world, and he said he has to say Fury, but at the same time he has to say Anthony Joshua would beat Fury. He's just going to say that Joshua has too much for him, but obviously Fury is the number 1 heavyweight, but Joshua, who's under Matchroom fighter Anthony Joshua, who Tony Bellew will be covering as a Sky Sports pundit. Bellew believes that he has the edge. But leave him alone, man, will you? Don't be fucking dragging him into fucking boxer-size sessions with the lad off the only way is Essex. Just leave him alone.
Tony's relationship with AJ is so one-sided, though, isn't it? You can just tell Tony thinks they're busy mates, and AJ's sort of like, yeah, whatever type of thing, Rob, you know?
He said, we're
Tony
mates,
who?
we're mates, me and AJ. Obviously, me and AJ are mates.
Oh, dear. Nomination for Tony anyway. Let us just change this. Yep, there we go. Abu Scouse nominated that. I mentioned this one earlier. Aussie, actually. Welcome to the team. Danny Morell has turned pro. This is Dave Allen's mate. I'm really excited to be working with MTK Global, says Morell. They're the best management company in boxing, and it makes sense to join them after Dave joined them. He then goes on to say, I'll be working with Dave, who I see as the best trainer and the best coach in the world. And with Dave working with Jamie Moore, I'll be working with Jamie too, which is great.
Is that true?
It was on the press release, yeah.
Oh my God. I don't get it. I honestly, I mean, Morello's got an opportunity here because he's Dave Allen's sidekick, and he's turned over with arguably the biggest managerial platform in boxing. So, I mean, look, he's got an opportunity there. He's been given an opportunity, and will get opportunities more than fighters 10 times, 20 times better than him. But we'll ultimately see what happens. Let's just hope he doesn't take any of any defensive tactics off Dave Allen, which is don't block any shots, just use your head.
There you go, Dave, the best trainer in the world. Talking of Anthony Bellew, Rob mentioned this earlier. Old Tony says Tyson Fury is the number 1, but Joshua will beat him. Tony Bellew, after 6, AJ is in trouble. 60 thumbs up and 77 thumbs down for him. Ben Thorns is also going in on the main man himself. I have to put Fury as number 1, but I still think AJ beats him. Styles make fights, and I think AJ's style is all wrong, Andy, for Fury. I think he would catch Fury, so relentless, so powerful, so athletically explosive and dynamic. I don't think Fury could keep him off, says Tony.
Tony Bellew said that.
Yeah.
There was a time Tony called me out, or called us out, I should say, actually, and said, when you can do it at my level, you can have an opinion. Hey, come on, fuck. Explosive, you know. We're being serious. Too explosive, too powerful. But he's actually just backed up himself. He's backed himself up by saying that Fury would. He thought that Fury would probably win, but he had to back Joshua or whatever. And that the man's gone. I mean, I think he must have hurt his head when he got flung out that helicopter. I think must have got a wee bit of concussion when he hit the water or something, like a fucking speeding bullet. What all the shit, man.
I love how that's written by Jeff No Quotes Powell too. Good
old No Quotes. Leave me alone to enjoy my family and my mates. Tony looking to live the quiet life.
Evening, Ed. Eddie actually put it on him in their little Jewel podcast or their interview with Bisping. Eddie, who definitely doesn't listen to the Boxing Asylum podcast, said to Tony, "Didn't you say that you just wanted to be left alone?" And he said, "Yeah, mate, but you just got to eat. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of kids you got to earn, mate." So he's renouncing his left alone, and he's basically fully admitting now to whoring himself out to any old shit like catchphrase, the SAS, and Mark Wright's fucking morning yoga sessions.
This may have been years ago. I think it was still when he was an active fighter, and he was in the rivalry with Cleverly, and he said he'll go to anything. He'll go to the opening of an envelope. And it was from an article and said Bellew, who was at the opening of a pizza restaurant. Oh,
that was David Hay. Him and Hay were back and forth.
Oh, dearie me.
Well, Ben Thorns isn't too fussed anyway. He says, where do you start to pull this waffle apart? The fact he's an AJ Sky Dick rider, the fact Fury called him Price's gay lover on Channel 5, the fact he rates Fury #1 but thinks the guy is better, or the fact nobody will leave him alone, and the AJ gasses after a round. So not sure about this relentless comment either. So Ben Thorns isn't too happy about that one. And let's move on. Marcus Bellinger's nominated Cash Ali. Me against Mike Tyson could be bite of the night. I think Den's onto that one as well. Get Cash Ali against Mike Tyson on, says Dennis Hobson. No Consent Boxing has nominated the boxing enthusiast, saying that Joshua never got dropped by Vladimir. Weapon of the Week, says Ted Barrett. Going for the old weapon of the week here, more like Bellew of the week. That's a reply to Ritson. What are we on here? Oh, yeah, Ritson against Prograis. Apparently, Aussie, they're talking that fight up. Lewis Ritson against Regis Prograis. Well, apparently, Sports Ticket Store jumped in, and he reckons that Prograis will get done, Aussie, by Ritson in 6 rounds. Ritson within 6. Facts, says a Sports Ticket Store.
It's just a laughable opinion, that. We saw Lewis Ritson get beat up off Francisco Patera. Regis Prograis would annihilate him. It just would be. It would be a dangerous fight. That would be a brutal, brutal fight for Ritson. Not one that I want to see anyway.
Good old Jason. Jason remembers some mad stuff. He's calling me out here. Apparently, something to do with Buffon, the goalkeeper, and Karius. And I legitimately have no recollection of this, Jason. Maybe we had a chat at some point. I really have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest. Talking to you about, would have saved that or something after the Champions League final. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Something to with Bellew or something like that, when he said Carey should retire or something like that after fucking up.
Oh, was it? Right, okay.
And then obviously he's like, he gave his opinion, but he doesn't even play that sport or anything like that. And then he's telling us to shut the fuck up because we don't play his sport, you know.
Yes, sorry. I understand now, Jace. Sorry, I thought you were smashed again. Hater Dave said he would go to the opening of an envelope. He will go absolutely anywhere, said Bellew, who was speaking to celebrate the launch of Papa John's new deep crust pizza.
You were right, Steve. It was up for the hate rematch.
Sorry, Jason. I thought you were calling me out there. Had to get down and dirty with you for a second. Can't be called out on this pod. Teofimo Lopez says, shout out to the champ, Devin Haney. Yes. Devin Haney's having a nightmare lately, isn't he?
That was a belter picture by me.
Listen as well.
But I seen that tweet by him. I'm like, shout out to the champ, and I'm like, don't tell me he's reversed back what he just said. And I clicked on the picture, and where the WBC is on the green belt, he's got an envelope with a letter coming out with the @ for Gmail. So it's fucking.
Does he listen? I wonder, does he listen? He's calling him the 2-time email champ this week on Twitter, Teofimo Lopez. So I'm already high on Lopez, but I just got higher on him after that. Like, absolutely brilliant.
Oh, I hope he stays in the wait for the Lomachenko fight. Like,
yeah, Lewis Kelly nominating Haney for that one. Ian Morton has nominated David Hay for tagging in a gymnast when talking about Joe Frazier. David Almond has nominated Tyson Fury for saying that him against Anthony Joshua will be between 2 undefeated champions. Regis Prograis again wants Ritson. Prograis says when boxing returns, he'd love to come back to the UK and face Lewis Ritson. Who have you got, Rougarou or the Sandman? JS Park has nominated Conor Benn, or Sky Sports rather, Cringeworthy stuff, he says. Conor Benn has done a sit-down interview with Sky Sports this week. And it says, I know when to retire, Conor said sharply. I know to listen to people. The Conor Benn of 2020, age 23, was never the man that he should have evolved into. He is fearsome to make eye contact with. There is an intensity about his body language, and his exterior has been crafted carefully to send a message. A bird of prey stares back at you as it sprawls across his throat. No fear is also tattooed in plain sight. He is dripping in gold chains. When his shirt is off, Destroyer is tattooed across his back and Fear God on his midriff. He stands in a tracksuit, clenching his fist like he means business at all times. I have turned into, says Ben, this.
I thought you were going to say B.A. Baracus at one point there.
No mention of the beard.
Fucking hell, and the mohawk.
Dude, that sounds like a good paragraph that your man that has the tattoo could get tattooed on the other side of his ribs.
That's right. Like in scroll writing.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Actually, do you know what? I've changed my opinion a little bit on Conor Benn because I listened to an interview with him out of pure boredom between him and Johnny Nelson. And, he said he's openly admitted he's overachieved by becoming a professional in the first place, that he came from a very privileged background, used to be in the skateboard and never thought he'd make it as a fighter. And said that after the Paynar fight that he came back to the dressing room kind of crying, like I said to his old man, like, this is not for me, like. And, he's kind of come back and, I'd say he's improved. I wouldn't say he's any great shakes by any stretch, but, it's tough to get in there, like, and he didn't have to get in there. So, you got to give him at least a bit of credit for that. But what kind of shit is that? He's very image conscious, as you may have guessed, with the British Hair Clinic beard and that. But they asked him in the interview, like, where did the fighting come from? And he was like, yeah, no, I don't know where all these tattoos and gold chains have come from. I used to be a privileged kid, so obviously he's chasing some kind of image and trying to back it up maybe by being a fighter. But let's make him and Josh Kelly and see can he do something. I'd watch it for sure. But who wrote that fucking paragraph, man?
Emotional content, Rob.
Unbelievable.
That's a good one. Harry Mullen be turning in his grave. Talking about turning in graves, Juan has had to go at Sky Sports for talking about Corrie Sanders. Saunders is dead now, at least respect his legacy by saying the late Corrie Saunders. Oh, that was a bad one, wasn't it?
Oh my God, imagine. He didn't just fuck up once, he fucked up twice in the same tweet.
Good old Juan. Box Report TV rather, at Real Boxing Talk 2 has nominated the man himself, Josie Vijay, THD, PhD. Old THD was calling out Andy Lee this week. Andy Lee, you are wrong about your assessment and prediction of Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. AJ is mentally tough. You do not understand African's phrase of mind being an Irish. Fury cannot do what he did to Wilder to AJ. He will go the distance with Fury. Let's bet on it. The doctor going in, Rob.
Fuck off, man.
No, say Andy has a few quid, man. I don't know if you want to bet against him. Like, I don't know. Maybe the PhD wages is good in Nigeria, though. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The doctor could be a high roller himself. But yeah, well, obviously he's right. We don't understand being an Irish. Being an Irish.
The doctor doesn't mess about. The doctor's based in Texas now. He's neighbours with Gabe.
Hanging out with Gabriel.
Absolutely.
He's going to lose the African mindset if he's living in Texas.
Gabe would have shot him by now if he came face to face with him. Especially had the hood on, Gabe had the hood on at that point. Sorry, the pillowcase.
Gabe's probably got that on all the time now, hasn't he? With the old social distancing and all that.
He'd have strung the body up just to drip dry the fucker.
Oh, he's bad. Like, sorry. Right. Moving on, Andy. You nominated one for Mayweather Promotions.
Yes.
Tank. This is from Kenny Ellis, the coach of Tank. Tank is one of those fighters that comes around every 25 years, like a prime Duran or Hagler. They don't just touch you with their punches; they try and go through you. Well, I mean, if he's going in against guys like Hugo Diaz, then they're all the more likely to fall.
I mean, I just go back to the Gamboa fight. I mean, that's a guy who ended up doing his Achilles. I forget, but I think it was late in the fight anyway. But he can't make weight, and he looked like shit as well against Gamboa. And just get him in fighting people around about roughly about his same size and roughly around about their peaks, and then we'll see where he's at. But my mention the same breath as Hagler and Duran. They're two bona fide legends, man.
Floyd gets a mention this week as well because he said he never heard of Ryan Garcia. And Ryan didn't bathe in tears this time. He shot back at Mayweather to say, "Well, you knew who I was when you were trying to sign me." And I have to say, right, as much as a little shit he was for doing that thing where he fucking texted that girl that stupid message, I hope he makes it, man, because he's a star in the making. Like, they love him in the States. He said as well, like, I just kept winning fights and I became a kind of a social media star. I didn't mean to do this, but I'm taking it on or whatever. And I tell you, he's living in the gym when fucking Gervonta is living in fucking White Castle or some one of these places and piling on the weight. So I don't know, I think that fight's still pretty far away, but and Davis is starting to go up, but I think Garcia will go up as well. I think they will meet at some stage, and I'd be very intrigued to see that fight.
Especially if Garcia's enjoying those Reynoso burgers, Andy.
I was going to say the Reynoso burgers and stuff like that. They were well known in the beef. But I was reading as well as apparently, Canelo takes no shit in training in that. If you're training with him, you're expected to fucking put in the work. And if he's like that, if he's like your mentally driven type character and that, then it's going to want, you train people like that, you want to be like them. You want to, you look at that guy.
On you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And people are now questioning now is because he's put on muscle. He's only, what is he, 21, early 20s anyway, and that's just still growing.
You say that like what Davis was training with Mayweather, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think, he's going to actually grow. What is he, lightweight? And I think he'll top out at welter, definitely.
I see him at 47. Definitely see him at 47. And they're going to match him right, and he's going to be a big money maker in the sport. It's going to be massive for the sport too to have a fella that puts asses in seats like that if he can continue doing the business in the ring.
Oscar needs a replacement for Canelo when he chucks it, because Canelo is Golden Boy just now, isn't he? I mean, he is the business for Golden Boy at the minute.
Expressed a little bit of discontent with Oscar.
Yeah, that's right.
I was wondering.
He got the big contract though. He got the big contract for himself out of it. He negotiated a re-signing with Oscar, and he's on the big bread now.
To what degree do we think Oscar has built Ryan Garcia? You know the way Aaron built Oscar, like throwing the underwear and all that. Like, to what degree is Oscar responsible for this kid's,
overnight? For the start, I'm sure. He hit him for the start. He's. He just tapped in that kind of followership that he's kept all the fights running about California and that, so probably stronghold.
Teenage girls on Instagram and all that. Oscar sort of appealed to the that demographic of the day as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he was prone to get his toy out from time to time at weigh-ins and stuff. So.
Thing is, though, Andy, what I'm interested in is the way the Canelo is the big cheese with the Reynosos. They've now taken on Ryan Garcia. They've taken on Oscar. What do you call?
They've got Martinez as well.
Martinez. They've got
Andy Ruiz.
Oscar Valdez. At one point, will Canelo say, "Hold on a minute, this is going to be like Freddie on the West Coast here. Whenever he was frigging training every man and his dog, Canelo's going to say, "Woo, I'm the big dog here. You've got all these other guys as well. Can you stick them all in?"
Nah, I think Canelo would have a say in that, without doubt. Canelo will. He owns that place.
That's what I mean. How many more people can they afford to take on? You see, before it becomes a problem.
Well, you never know. Maybe Canelo's behind it. Maybe it's his stable of fighters. You never know. At the end of the day, the Reynosos would be nobody without Canelo. Let's get that straight. I'm not saying that, but you know what I'm saying is there wouldn't be.
I think Canelo will look to get into promotions down the line. I think he's not going to fight for him. I think he maybe get another 3 years of Canelo and he'll go into promoting.
I think after this contract, Canelo will probably walk. I mean, you would, wouldn't you?
What is it? Go at 3, 4 years?
He's been fighting for about frigging 20 years and he's earning 35 million a fight. Why would you get punched in the head for that shit, man?
He's been fighting for he was like 15. Was he another turn pro at 15, 16 or something like that?
There you go, 15 years.
Turn pro 15, yeah.
Canelo will be done after this contract expires, I'd say.
Or he goes on his own. Oscar gets cast aside and he gets to pick whatever fights he wants. Well, he does that anyway, I suppose. Yeah. But can you imagine just keeping all that bread to yourself, though? Don't know how much money you need, though.
Yep. Anyway, moving on. Craig Marsh, 88, has been nominated by Sean Stevo for saying that he would rather have an Anthony Fowler signed glove than a Joe Calzaghe one. That is all the ones I've got, actually, Andy. Any nominations from yourself, sir?
Well, I see Linares called out Ryan Garcia and stuff, just bullshitting and stuff, saying like at 21 I was world champion. So just basically owning them, what you achieved at 21 so far. So basically shut up until you win something. You got the Sanders. Devin Haney. This one to Eddie Hearn, actually, this is my only one I think of the week so far. She's talking about this fight camp coming back into thing. So he's quoted in the Daily Mail by saying this, right? He says, "We cannot just bring back boxing with a dark studio. We have built our product around razzmatazz, the sexiness, and the drama." I've never seen sexiness in boxing, I must admit. It's all been about building that moment for a fight, so we cannot afford just to bring people out like a game show. We want to create a gladiatorial environment, that will not only ensure compelling viewing, but also ensure fighters can perform at the highest level. What a pile of fucking pish. Pile of pish. I mean, that is just something out of a fucking committee meeting. Well, give me some buzzwords here later. Okay, I'll write that down and fucking go and say, but razzmatazz and the sexiness and the drama. Yeah. Fuck off, sexiness.
The same fella who said that. Same guy who said that Dana White hosting fights on Fight Island for the UFC would be in bad taste.
That's a good point.
Bad taste, but it's good.
Just
good to have it in your dad's back garden. That's a lot better taste. Have a fight in your. I tell you, it wouldn't be the first fight I saw in a back garden, so I'm all for it. But you know, hypocrisy is what it is. Evening Ed.
Evening Edward. So I put Eddie up for that one. But I think I'm going to vote for Bellew this week. Just solid, man. Absolute pound for pound solid.
I like Danny Morell's. Ozzy, if you've got any saying that Dave Allen's the best trainer and the best coach in the world.
Yeah, he's my pick, actually. Bellew's a definitely close second, but to say Allen is the best trainer in the world and he's never even coached is laughable.
Oh, some good ones. Any from you, Hater Dave?
No nominations. I was all set to give it to Teofimo Lopez. Actually, like one of the few positive Bellew of the weeks, because I enjoyed that picture he had of Haney. But after I heard that Eddie Hearn spiel, I mean, that's just embarrassing. I think boxing has really missed a trick here in waiting. I mean, they can still capitalize on it. Don't get me wrong. There's still not a lot of live sports. But the way that UFC came back was the first really to come back with that fantastic event. Live pay-per-view was a really good card. I bought it myself because I was just like, I don't usually buy pay-per-view, but geez, I was like, we need live sports here. And I bought it. It was good. Boxing could have, I mean, you're a hater! In a different, hello, Russ, in a different position than UFC, where there's like unilateral control over like all the fighters and all that. But,
do you think they're having the fight in Barry Hearn's back garden because Barry Hearn doesn't know anyone with an island where they could host the fights?
Not anymore, anyway. He's probably on the island, is he?
Oh, dearie fucking me.
They didn't actually use Fight Island for that pay-per-view, though. They just used the stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. And to be honest, the lack of crowd didn't bother me at all. It was kind of an interesting experience hearing like all the extra breathing and the fight sounds that you usually miss with the roar of the crowd. So yeah, it was a good event, and boxing, I think, should take it. It's not too late to capitalize on this. I don't know if this nonsense from Eddie Hearn, after he basically called Dana White out on how terrible it was, is gonna be the right way to do it. But at least do something, because now is the time to take advantage. Get some boxing fans. There's no other sports going on. Boxing's in a unique position where it doesn't require a whole team of players, two teams of players. Really, just requires two fighters and their corner guys, and some medical personnel. Yeah, but we can make it happen.
Heavy breathing, Dave, and lots of swearing. It sounds like you're describing when Tommy went to pay-per-view with Coogan on this very channel, which you can find in the archives.
I never met a Sri Lankan who can fight, mate. Where's Tommy? Where are you, Tommy? We're going to have a scrap at Quig Frampton. All right, we can.
Oh, man, Tommy, yeah.
That was really embarrassing for Coogan.
I felt your muscles. Oh, I'd have to put that one back up again. Anyway, sorry, Dave. I can't really remember anything you said, but I'm sure it was interesting. Any nominations from you, Rob? Any nominations, Rob? Don't think so. What about Dave? How much did you have to pay for that pay-per-view?
For me, you know.
You got nothing, no?
I only paid $20 because I split it with some friends.
Wellington. No, it wasn't. It was on here. Right. Okay. So I am going to go for Conor Benn, Andy. I liked that little article about Conor on Sky Sports, dripping in gold and tattoos around his throat.
Oh yeah, but no, I'm gonna go for Bellew this week.
One for Bellew, one for Conor Benn article. Ozzy, you've already gone for Dave Allen and Mr. Morel, I believe.
Correct, yeah.
Absolutely. Hater Dave, so you were saying that it was $20 for the pay-per-view, and how did you order it? Was it online?
On ESPN Plus, the app.
Okay. And who are you going for this week for Bellew of the Week?
Eddie. Because of that, the utter hypocrisy and the sexiness and the razzmatazz. Bullshit.
I'm going for Eddie as well. No, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying, Andy, Chuck Woo's going on about Tommy versus Coogan was on the Asylum because it was a live podcast. Yeah, it was a live podcast on the Asylum, wasn't it?
He's talking shit. He has a bad memory.
Too much weed, man. He needs to calm the fuck down.
Thought it was.
Sleep.
Thought it was going mad there. He's trying to get into my head here. Chuck Woo's living rent free. Rob Kelly, who are you going for this week?
Yeah, I had a couple I was going to nominate. I was going to go down the Sam Jones and Kinahan Road, but we haven't got time.
No.
We'll get to it another time. No, I just think the way he said that, like, I understand the science behind all the MTK fighters coming out in defense of Kinahan with this power play fight being made. It's no secret. Aaron's been referencing it. It's national news here. But the likes of Sam Jones, like I said, mentioned before, I know people up in that area, like, and you wouldn't be saying which side, who you thought is a great fella to anybody, let alone putting it on Twitter. So it's kind of easy for him to be saying that kind of stuff. But look, that's it's another side issue. As I said before, MTK are here to stay and they're part of the sport, whether you like it or not. But it has to be, it's tough, man. It's between Bellew towing the company line on the fucking Only Way is Essex guys live Instagram on a fucking yoga mat, or Eddie Hearn for, as Dave said, just the sheer hypocrisy. And I said it at the fucking time. As soon as Dana White was making him fights on the island and he came out against it, I was like, he's fucking raging. He didn't take it out first. It's like, if he could get a fight on an island and get away with it, he'd do it. So he's gone one better. He's gone to his album. He's gone John Fury style, and he's doing it in his back garden. So literally this is going to be fight where fellas say I went to the other lad's backyard and they're talking about the promoter. Fucking unbelievable, man. Fucking neck on him, like absolute neck on him, to come out with the Sweet Caroline and the drone footage and everything. Holy fucking shit. Unbelievable. Evening, Edward.
Evening, Eddie. Congratulations, Eddie. You are Bellew of the Week for episode 373. Been a while since you were nominated. I'm sure you don't give a shit.